Fred Shanks, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Hutch. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'll tell you, with the COVID situation, it has certainly reshaped campaigning this year, hasn't it?
It absolutely has. It's been one of those things, you don't know whether people want to talk to you or not, and you're afraid that you're going to offend somebody if you knock on the door. So one of the things we've been doing this year different than past is going out and just hanging the door knockers on the doorknobs. Mm-hmm. And talking to people. If we run into them on the street and they seem receptive to discussions, we try to get the word out that way. But we're trying to respect everybody's right to avoid this virus the best they can.
Just like vacuum cleaner salesmen used to do, you hang something on the door that said "Vote for Fred Shanks" and win a 6-pack of Diet Pepsi. So, yeah, I'm kidding, of course, obviously.
That's right.
But, I mean, you're all facing the same thing. I respect anybody who runs because, as you found out, when you get on council, you become everybody's friend or enemy depending on how you vote, and you've got a target on the back of your chest when you go into Food Lion. I guess you know that by now.
Absolutely. That's true. And the biggest thing that I found surprising is it's only one vote that really strikes you down. Mm-hmm. When people look back at your record, if it's a controversial issue, it's that one vote kind of shapes where you stand.
So let's chat about this stuff. You've been on council. You have watched and been a part of the progress that the city has made, but you want to get back on because you obviously feel like your work is unfinished. There are things you could contribute. So what would you like to see happen when you get back on council? And I'll start. Everybody's in favor of education, helping small business. What do you think is at the top of that list for you?
Well, I think a couple of things. First of all, I've been in business, small businesses. I've been in business with a small private sector company for 33 years. So I have some knowledge about the experience that people have when they submit plans or requests to the city government. But I also have been on the planning commission for 12 years, so I understand city government's reaction to the request and how they operate. So I feel like I can bring some experience on that private sector, public sector relationship and use that experience also in things that are so dear to my heart, which is the economic development process that our city has undergone over the last 12 years. I think we've got some tremendous success stories, but we also have some tremendous opportunities with the Southern Virginia Mega Park at Berry Hill, and also with the possibility, if the citizens so choose, to pass the referendum to allow for a casino to operate here in the city. If that happens, there's going to be a whole lot of infrastructure needs that will need to be looked at and studied by the city to make sure that we're ahead of the traffic game and ahead of the utilities requirement game for the various growth sectors. And I think, West Main Street between Schoolfield and the city, the state line, is going to be a tremendously impacted area for redevelopment. And that whole process needs, in my opinion, someone on council who understands infrastructure and understands growth in a corridor like that. And that's kind of what I do for a living. It's kind of my wheelhouse.
Yes, Fred Shanks, and we've talked about that with you as a surveyor. You're right. That area of town, if these things go through, if these businesses come in, they'll provide some help in terms of the taxes, won't they?
They sure will. I mean, if you think of the tax structure of the city, you've got hotel tax, you've got meals tax, you've got personal property tax for the businesses, and then you've got the gaming tax on top of that will a portion of which will be returned to the city. But I think it's really interesting in that in this particular decision to recruit. And that's kind of what City Council did for the last year and a half, is recruit various casinos to offer proposals. But in this process, we have not had to use incentives money of any type. And I anticipate, as you look at the development of the West Main corridor or the redevelopment, I don't anticipate the need for incentivizing any of that redevelopment. I think the market will take care of that, and I'm really anxious to see that happen if the casino referendum passes.
I would agree. Fred Shanks, and for the few maybe who don't know what incentivizing is and we don't want to lose them, that means we didn't have to pay them to come. We didn't have to say, we'll cut your taxes in half if you'll come. So you're right. These people are wanting to come here, and that would be a huge difference in the model that we've had to follow, but have been successful in spite of that.
Yeah, that's for sure. And in the case of the casinos, the one that actually has been selected, if the voters choose to pass a referendum, they actually have provided incentive to the city, financial incentive to the city, to have the opportunity to operate here, and that's quite contrary to the models that we've used over the last few years.
Yeah, these people, if the people of Danville decide to pass this, the casino people should be wearing Santa Claus suits when they walk in the door.
And they will be.
They will be. They will be. Do you think any of that would help small businesses who are having problems with the COVID situation, or are there other mechanisms you think that council can put into place to help small businesses?
Well, I really think with the increase in jobs in the city and the increase in tourism, which that's exactly what these people are that come from out of city and out of state into a casino like the one we may have here, those type of results are going to be very helpful for existing businesses. And I like, for instance, now we don't have a conference center. That's one of the biggest things that City Council wanted to see incorporated in the casino proposals was a conference center. We don't have a conference center here, and that is a major drawback. A lot of us have served in positions where we organize conferences all over the state of Virginia, and we've never had the opportunity to have one here in our city, and I think that will help bring in a lot more tourism and people that are come to town to shop and to play and to eat and to stay in hotels. So, I mean, I think there's going to be a tremendous spinoff, in my opinion, should the casino operate here with regard to tourism, and that in turn will help bring business to the many local businesses, small and otherwise, here in town. See, the thing City Council really worked for is to make this casino operation, if it locates here, be a destination resort casino. And it was very important because we have to realize North Carolina probably won't be too far down the road when they decide to allow casinos. But we needed to make sure that we had a name market. I mean, Caesars is a name market with a huge reputation. They're not going to cannibalize their own casino. So we're interested in getting a resort casino that could compete against smaller casinos in the market just south of us.
All right, and we got about a minute here. We've talked about jobs. We've talked about the economy. Education. What one thing would you want to see change if you get back into council? What would you begin to try to advocate for?
I think it's imperative that the city become and have an opportunity to repopulate its school system, to bring in more students and provide an opportunity for those students to bring up our system. And I think with repopulating the school system and with perhaps some additional funds from a casino operation on an annual basis, that we'll be able to make our school system a school system of destination, as it used to be back when I was in school. You had people from out of town coming into the school system in Danville. Now it's almost the opposite, or is the opposite. I think we need to turn that trend around.
All right. Fred Shanks, good luck in the election, and as I've thanked all council candidates, thanks for all the work that you all have had to do, particularly in this tough year.
Well, thank you, Hutch. I believe it's all three of us love our city, and we hope the best for it, and we're working hard for that.
Thank you, Fred. You have a good day, sir.
Thank you.